What's going on, guys? It's your boy Luce the Rooster back in with another video, and today we are doing jumping into Cotton Comes to Harlem. It's another film that I watched in class. Today we are doing a scene analysis on it. Cotton Comes to Harlem is a action, comedy, and crime film directed by Ozzie Davis, based off the novel by Christopher Himes, which, according to Novotny Lawrence in the blaxploitation films of the 1970s, she states on page 27, the screenplay for Cotton Comes to Harlem was based on a series of novels by Chester Himes, who began writing while serving 8-year prison term for armed robbery. Christopher Himes sold the screen rights to his detective series, to producer Samuel Goldwyn Jr. That's also in the Novotny Lawrence book, on page 28 at the top. Goldwyn initially hired a white scriptwriter, Arnold Pearl, to write it, but then he fired him soon after because it wasn't authentic representation of black life, so he hired Ozzie Davis instead. So there's two screenplay writers. It's Arnold Pearl, who got fired after not doing the best job, and Ozzie Davis, which that is also in the book on page 28, right under the quote of Himes sold the screen rights to his series to Samuel Goldwyn. So the quote is, Goldwyn initially hired white scriptwriter Arnold Pearl to write the film adaptation of Cotton Comes to Harlem. However, after reading the first draft of Pearl's screenplay, Goldwyn was not satisfied because he felt that it lacked authentic representation of black life. He contacted Ozzie Davis, whom he had originally hired to star as one of the film's direct detectives, for suggestions about how the script could be improved. Some notable stars in this is Raymond St. Jacques, who was playing Detective Coffin Ed Johnson. Godfrey Cambridge, who was Gravedigger Jones. Another person is Calvin Lockhart, who originally was in New York. This is also in the Novotny Lawrence book. Who originally moved to New York to study engineering, but after a brief stint in school, he dropped out to pursue an acting career. He made his acting debut in New York theater productions alongside St. Jacques in The Cool World in 1960, and later appeared in The Dark Moon in 1960. Although Lockhart gained acting experience in the theater productions, he had a small number of roles, which prompted him to move to Europe. He remained in Europe for 8 years, where he appeared in the BBC television shows as well as the film Joanna. He eventually returned to the U.S. and starred in films such as Dark of the Sun, Melinda, and Uptown Saturday Night, among others. And then he obviously played in Cotton Comes to Harlem. In between Joanna or Dark of the Sun and Melinda. Cotton Comes to Harlem is about two detectives trying to solve a case trying to catch a scammer named Deke O'Malley. The two detectives' names are Coffin Ed and Gravedigger. So they, not their legal names obviously, but their nicknames. So they suspect Deke O'Malley of being a complete and utter con man and scamming these people out of money. So what happens is that eventually he scams the folks of Harlem out of money, he's looked at him as a great guy, and then the money gets stolen through a bale of cotton, and they're all looking for it throughout the entire film, and he is the main reason as well. He has all these people looking for him, praising him, and then once they figure out where it is, Deke O'Malley has his partner in crime go try and get it, but he won't give it up. And the guy who stole it is long gone by now. He is presumed dead. Then they have a riot at the police station after someone arrests Deke O'Malley. I'm pretty sure it's the two officers. Arrest Deke O'Malley, and there's a riot outside. The and Deke O'Malley is set free after that riot, basically, not because of the riot, just because of other circumstance. And then at the end, they're in the church, and Deke O'Malley not admits to it, but he's talking to his wife Iris, who we got a ring for, so she can be happy ever after. And then he escapes, and then they go to the Apollo Theater, where the cotton dance is being performed, and he tries to find the money in the bale of cotton, but it's not there, and he ends up getting caught there and turned into a monster by his own will doing. And Coffin Head and Gravedigger know that, so they just let him be and have him unravel himself. Alright, so one element that really sticks out to me in this film is costuming, and you can see it here. So you have the lower class, or in this case, the lower class, and then you have Deke O'Malley. So this is Iris, this is Deke, but you can see her costuming is more like black, showing that she's part of the Harlem community, the lower class part of the Harlem community, because as we talked about in class, where they go through at the beginning of the film through all sorts of all of like the things of Harlem while following Deke O'Malley in his Rolls Royce. But that's besides the point. It's just to show that she's in a not as a high a class as Deke O'Malley is. So she's wearing dark colored clothing to represent that she is a part of that class, or part of the lower class, and in this film, the African American class in that part of Harlem. And Deke O'Malley is wearing this suit, nice tie, bright colors, vibrant, all like baby bluish, whitish, to show that he is above the class. He's now in the white privilege-esque area of it. So with his costuming, you can tell that he's in the white privilege, and it also shows with the money he gets from scamming everybody. But let's head to 1741. To where we see Coffin Head and Gravedigger. So also in Novotny Lawrence, she says that Coffin Head and Gravedigger maintain the hard-boiled attitude, but as a team, they operate under different set of circumstances than white privileged or white private detectives, not white privileged detectives. And I think that the way that it's shown in the film is due to the fact that their costumes are more gray. So it's like the middle ground between the lower class and the white privileged class. So that's why with the costuming, I think it shows like where, depending on the character, they have that certain type of costuming to where it matters that much, or it's to show you what social class they fit in with. And I think with what the director did with these two is they made them gray because they're that middle ground, because they're detectives, but they don't operate as white private detectives would. They operate as, they know how hard it can be in Harlem and stuff, and how hard it could be. They know the hustle. So yeah, that is my scene analysis. Sorry about that cough. But yeah, so you can just see here that it's, and I know it wasn't like played back, but I just have the clips. I was looking at it and stuff. So yeah, so it's like better pictures of it, that they have the gray suits and like more neutral-esque colors, middle ground. Yeah, that is my scene analysis for Cotton Comes to Harlem.